Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a founder newsletter, 3 times existed founder, and how to build a startup, and the author of the book, Starting a Startup, no other than Mr. James Sinclair.
Thanks so much, Daniel.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. James, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I'm James Sinclair. I'm based in Los Angeles. I have built and sold a couple of startups across gaming, infrastructure, B2B SaaS. I've led innovation at projects at companies like SAP, Google, Nike. And really now I spend my time in the trenches with first-time founders, helping them turn their ideas into actual paying customers. Each week I have a founder newsletter that goes out to 140,000 founders around the world, just focused on asking some fair questions about their startup.
Fair questions, indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today let's talk about starting a startup. What's the number one misconception about the startups that you wanted to debunk in this book?
I think there's two misconceptions. Number one is if you build something great, people will just turn up and start paying you for it. That is not true. If you build it, no one is coming. And the second is that is the amount of work it takes to build something great. And this misunderstanding that it's going to be this easy ride, and it's not, and it never is. And ultimately, if you want to build something fantastic, there's really only one secret, which is, or there's only one whole playbook, which is build a winning team, create something people want and are willing to pay for, do it fast, and keep it lean. And that's it. That's the whole playbook. Everything else are just steps inside of that playbook.
How do you define building something people want in a way that's different from generic advice?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has ideas of things they want, right? So things they want. Oh, wouldn't it be great, every night, my wife and I, my kids, where should we eat? Where should we eat? We should just build an app that helps us decide. Or we have these experiences where we think we should just build something to solve the problem. And a lot of great founders find a problem that they solve, and they solve it really well. But the trouble is, are you solving something that's so painful people are willing to pay to solve it? It's annoying for me to go to the gas station and fill up my gas in my car. Sure, but I'm not willing to pay some significant premium to remove that pain. So when you talk about what people want and will pay for, it's not only solving a problem that exists, but a problem that's so painful that people will pay you money for it. And money doesn't have to be cash. Money can be time, can be some other transaction, but usually is cash.
You emphasize validation. What is your framework for testing if an idea is truly needed versus just a cool?
Yeah, getting in traffic. That's it. Go speak to people. Go speak to people who have this problem. Go understand how they are currently solving this problem. Are they currently solving this problem? Are they paying to solve this problem through, buying 5 other tools or buying some other tool? Or are they just living with this problem? Is this problem costing them money? And so really it's go out and speak to people, go out to speak to prospects. And the response you're not looking for is like, oh, that seems like a good idea. High five. You're looking to build up an army of people so that by the time you launch, they are waiting for your product. So that by the time you launch, they are knocking on your door, asking you to hurry up. Because in this market where it's so easy to build products and coding is commoditized with all of these amazing AI tools, the winner is distribution. And distribution is having an army of people standing outside your store when you have your grand opening.
Let's talk about the behind the scenes and motivation. What personal startup failure or aha moment inspired you to write this book?
The aha moment was actually quite clear. There is a lot of predatory and bad advice for founders that's all based around fundraising. If you want to have a startup, you have to go fundraise. You have to get angel investment. The first thing you should do is build your pitch deck and get money. And I just don't believe that to be true. I believe that is a myth. That's a Silicon Valley kind of view that people have. But to be a great founder, just go build something. Go prove to the world that they need this thing. And so the aha moment, what was so many founders who, when you say, what do you need? They say money. And actually, when you go through the conversation with them, what they need is clarity of their idea, clarity of their problem, clarity of their solution. And there's plenty of things that they can do now, right now, without money that would let them get a little bit further in their journey. And I think the concept of money stops so many founders.
Definitely, we need billions of money, people. What's where a surprising lesson from your own startup journey that made into the book?
The best lesson is halfway through, I had to rewrite it because this book I use my own protocols for. I have a mailing list of 140,000 founders. I was sending them an email every single week. And it was very clear what emails were resonating, how they like to receive advice, how they like to hear feedback, what they want to be questioned on. And as I was writing this book, I realized that my market was telling me very clearly, actually, this is how we like to receive information. And so halfway through of me building up this big audience so that by the time I release, I have people who want to buy it, I realized I actually had to rewrite it. And that was good news. I would rather find out from my market that I need to make an adjustment or a change or I'm doing something wrong as early as humanly possible, right? Otherwise, I would have written this whole thing and it would have been not as great as it could have been or should have been. And so I was able to kind of listen to the signals of my own mailing list, which is why I started a newsletter. I wanted to build up an audience so that when I released a book, there were a line of people who kind of gave a shit.
Did any famous startups influence your approach? Why you disagree with? Or who do you disagree with?
I don't actually disagree or agree, because I think when you look at famous founders and their stories, it's like a broken mirror. It's missing the trauma. It's missing some of the realities. It's missing the luck that happened in between. So I love hearing those stories. I love hearing the Airbnb story. Probably the one that I love the most is Brian Chesky from Airbnb, who says he went out to raise money and 99 people said no. He was asking for, I think the number is like $150,000 for like 10% of his company, which is ridiculous now. But everyone said no. And the 100th person said yes. And I think that's just a testament to a founder resilience and a founder just making it happen. So I love what Brian Chesky has talked about. I love how open and honest he is about his process. I also love this kind of new wave of founders who are building in public, who are on TikTok, on LinkedIn, telling you exactly what they're doing minute by minute without pretending it's all fantastic, without pretending that life is a beach. No, a lot of the work for founders is just boring. So there's a lot of new founders that I'm watching online that I just love watching because I love watching their story and how they're going about it and how they're engaging their audience.
Let's talk about the practical advice for founders, Mr. James. What's the most counter initiative tactic you recommend for early stage startups?
Yeah, I think for me, or my framework, or the way I've been thinking about it, is you have to earn the right to take each step forward. And most founders are trying to race towards success. And actually, at the very beginning, when your odds of success are very low, I actually think you have to turn around and methodically walk backwards from failure one small step at a time. I think at the beginning, you're just trying to take these small incremental steps away from failure through reasonable questions and reasonable work. And at some point, the wind blows and changes your direction towards success. But I think most founders start with kind of like, I'm trying to hit this success. I'm trying to hit the moonshot or the North Star. And I love that. But at the very beginning, when your odds are so low and so stacked against you, Let's mitigate the things that almost guarantee you fail. Let's focus on those. And then we can talk about how you reach for the moon and achieve success.
Mr. James, how do you balance visions with practicality?
Yeah, I mean, it's called RTB versus ITB, run the business versus invest in the business. And by day, you have to dig the trenches and do the work and make stuff happen. But you have to balance also coming up above the trenches and making sure you're going in the right direction. So you always have to be working on your medium and long-term playbook. You have to make sure that everything you're doing now is leading to where you think you want to be. Vision is critical because vision is what keeps you excited while you're doing all of the shitty work. Vision is what keeps you excited when no one's emailing you, when no customers are interested, when everyone says no. Vision is the dopamine that keeps you going because you understand the bigger purpose or the bigger thing you're working for. And it's important to do both. Ultimately, run the business, work on the business and achieve your short-term goals, but stay somewhat aligned, but flexible with where you think you want to go and where you think this should take you.
What's a common early mistake founders make when taking to a potential customers?
Well, when they speak to their customers, the greatest mistake every founder makes, including myself at the very beginning, is they get on a 30-minute call and they spend 29 minutes talking about the features. And they don't spend any time asking the questions. What are you doing now? What are the challenges? How are those challenges working for you? I think a lot of early founders just want to show their software. Let me show you what it does. Let me show you all the clicks. Let me show you one more thing. When instead, I think when it comes to sales and specifically kind of the larger sales, founders would benefit from spending more time listening to their customers. Because if you listen, they'll tell you what they need. They'll tell you their problem. And so listening and asking questions is probably the most undervalued trait a founder has to learn very, very quickly. But it's hard. You just want to show people the creation you just made. And I understand that.
Yes, people, listen for sure. How do you prioritize features when resources are tight?
Yeah, people call that the MVP or the minimum viable product, or they have a lot of views of what they want to call it. But ultimately, every feature has to have an outcome assigned to it. If I build this feature, what do I expect to happen? Do I expect more users to convert from my landing page? Do I expect more existing users to stay and not churn? And so I think when you're thinking about the kind of features, every founder turns into a feature factory. We just need more stuff, more things. And they have this backlog of hundreds of items because they think they need them. And sometimes they're right. But I think at the very beginning, really, you want to isolate around features that are core to completing the transaction. What does your software do? And let's build the features that ensure more people achieve the outcome. That's it. Everything else you can then associate with, is this a go-to-market feature? Is this a conversion? Is this a, founder-led sales program? Is this designed to drive more retention, increase my revenue per customer? But at the beginning, everything should be driven towards one thing and one thing only: proof that your software works. Completion of the transaction.
Completion indeed. Let's talk about the challenges and real talk. What's the hardest emotional hurdle for founders that people don't talk about enough?
That it's really, really lonely. Really lonely, right? You want to put on a good face that everything's going great. You're working hard. I've got an app. Everything's going fantastic. And it's probably not, right? There's a lot of time where you are questioning yourself, whether you are delusional, whether you were stupid to start this journey, whether you did everything wrong, whether you made all these mistakes, whether you should quit. What if you had just stayed at your job? And it becomes really lonely because who do you trust to talk through these challenges? Which is why so many people like to have a co-founder, because a co-founder lets you have someone you can engage with about the challenges that you have. So I think number one is people don't talk enough about the kind of the mental health and the physical health strain it goes on being a high-performing founder, high-performing being the key word. And the second is you suddenly are required to make these very clear statements of who you are and what you believe and what you're going to work on. Right? So everything is testing your ethics and testing your boundaries. The product's not quite ready. It's got bugs. Should we release it now? most founders will say, no, I don't want to release it. It's got bugs. How can I take people's money when it doesn't work perfectly? But you have to release now. You have to get it into the market. And so this journey, especially for first-time founders, it is how do you deal with kind of the loneliness of this solo journey, which many founders are? And the second is how do you work out what is good for you as a founder? What does it mean to be good to your customer? What does it mean to have empathy for your customer? What's right? And what lines are you crossing or coming close to?
Mr. James, as an author, as a founder too, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
This is it. This is the goals that I want to do. I want to empower first-time founders to have everything they need to succeed. I give all of my content away for free. It's all on my website, startuptoscaleup.com, all my playbooks, all my frameworks, all of my writings, all of it. The book is if you would just like to go a couple of clicks down, if you would like to see it all in one cohesive story. But really, this is my short and long-term goal, to help first-time founders build products people want and to have the support that I kind of wish I had going through my journey myself.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. James, and looking forward for more success and more empowering books for founders or entrepreneur. And can you give a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a founder, an author, or, well, entrepreneur?
If you have an opportunity and you are given the opportunity, whatever that might mean, to go do a thing that you want to do, do it. Run into it. Look, being a founder, being an entrepreneur isn't for everybody, but there's only one way to find out. And you can read 1,000,000 baby books, but the only way to know how to be a good parent is to have a baby, right? The only way to be a great entrepreneur is to start a company. And there are so many people out there that have said to themselves, oh, I would like to start this. I would like to do this. Start the journey, but starting the journey doesn't mean investing money and writing code and doing stuff. It just means evaluating one core question. Does anyone give a shit about this problem? And do they care enough that they'll pay for a solution? And that's the first thing you get to work out. And you need no code, no website, no money to answer that very structural question.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. James. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, Blitzscaling was probably the first book I read by Reid Hoffman,
Yes.
which I loved and reframed a lot. And I don't agree with everything, right? I don't agree with every view in there. But the point of these business books isn't to agree with everything. It's to help you learn. It's to help you think. It's to help you critically think. So when you think about reading these books of our heroes, of our authors, of all of these people, you don't read it to copy their journey. You read it to help you think about thinking, because that's what makes you a great founder, how you can think, process, and make decisions.
Very well said, Mr. James. Beautifully articulated. How would your book be different if you wrote in 10 years ago versus today?
Well, probably would have been a lot more toxic, because a lot of the traits that I thought you had to have, I somewhat disagree with now. I also think 10 years ago, I was in let me show you how it's done era, do it my way era. And really what's changed over 10 years for me is actually, this is your journey, your way. And it's got to be your journey, your way. And so what's changed is now I just ask founders what are reasonable questions about their startup. And I say, it's no problem if you don't know the answer. Let's work together to find the answer. But you should be able to answer these questions. You should be able to think about these topics. You should be able to speak to me coherently about your vision and your goals and what the transaction is and what metric moves and all of those things. I think 10 years ago, I was in my I know everything era, and now I'm in the I know nothing era. But I have some questions that I would like to ask you.
Yes, I like that. What's question you wish more people ask you about the book itself?
I think, what question would I like people to ask me about the book? Which is, am I happy with it? And the reason why I think that's a great question is because it serves kind of the founder journey. I did everything based on the book. I've built an audience of 140,000 founders. I've written frameworks and playbooks. So I've worked out that my market wants this. I've worked out they'll pay for it. I know what the price point is. I've done everything I've said. And yet still, I feel like I'm releasing early because I just did the audio book where I read the whole book to myself. And at least 1 million times, I was like,
Yes.
oh, I wish I'd said that differently. Oh, I've got to add something here. And that's the reality. It's never done. It's never, ever done. Doesn't matter what you do. But at some point, you have to say, it is done enough that I have to release to the market. And I have to be ready for what the market says to me. And if the market demands it, I'll release a version 2.
Yes, definitely. And what's trend in startups today that you think is overhyped or underrated?
I don't think there's any, actually, because the market needs ambitious, amazing, stupid, silly, fantastic. You need everything, right? You need all of these great ideas and terrible ideas because through it all, like the great ones lift. And sometimes the things that start off silly turn into something fantastic. The things that start off as a toy turn into something great. So I think when we think about the overhyped stuff, sure, we could be easy. AI. If you can find something that people want and will pay for, it doesn't have to be $1 billion business. It just needs for some people, it might just be some side income. But if you can do that, do it. Right? So what is overhyped? Thinking you can just build and release something and people will give a shit. Overhyped is believing that distribution is a right, not a privilege.
If someone ignores all your advice except one thing, what should they remember?
They ignore all my advice except one thing. That's pretty much that's my household right now. It's speak to people. Speak to people, speak to people, speak to people. Like if there's one thing that you can absolutely do that costs no money, that just takes effort and time and thinking about what that means, it's get in traffic, get in the arena, whatever the right phrase you want to use, right? There is never anything detrimental that comes from gaining more knowledge from the market, period. Now, at some point, you have to stop taking in new knowledge and start making decisions and start doing things. And when you take in knowledge, you don't have to believe it's all 100% true. Again, like the books, knowledge is an opinion coming into you. You're going to process that and digest it how you want to because it's your journey.
How you want to, for sure. What's one thing you hope readers do immediately after finishing the book?
Send me an email. Send me an email. Tell me what you loved, what you hated, what you're doing, what you're not doing, whether it delivered value, whether it didn't. So I think I'm fishing for feedback, but I want that. And I put my email inside of the book that says, if you got this far, email me. And, again, with my newsletter, I get hundreds, sometimes thousands of replies, depending on how aggressive my email is each week. And I try to respond to all of them because founders need to know that they're not alone. And that people give a shit and want them to succeed. And it's tough. And so that's the point of kind of this book, of my content, of my newsletter, of my frameworks. It's fucking tough out there. And we understand that. So maybe my words provide you a little bit more dopamine to keep on running.
Mr. James, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and my book 101 review in 5th season too, comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my food 101 in 5th season as well, geography 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast law 101 and mental health 101, love letters in 3rd season, and movie 101 review and music 101 in 4th season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its 4th season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. James, what's next for you? Is it another book, a startup, or something unexpected?
I don't know. And it's okay to have that answer. I don't know. I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. I'm enjoying my newsletter. I'm enjoying the book. I'm enjoying my founders I consult with. And if something comes, great. And that's the point of being a founder, being open, being able to listen. And I think that's the point you've made about the books and about the advice and about the stuff. It's just about hearing signals. So when the idea or something comes along that could be exciting, you're ready and prepared to take it.
Who did you write this book for? The first-time founders, side hustle, or specific industry?
First-time entrepreneurs, and that's everything from the people kind of just getting out of college, but it's also for the PhD students going into the startup world. It's for the people leaving consulting. It's for the executives. All of these people who have gone anywhere through life thinking, you know what, I've always wanted to do this. Great, go do it. So it's meant for first-time founders, but not first-time entrepreneurs. There's plenty of corporate executives, PhDs, academics, who are extraordinary entrepreneurs. And now they're saying, I want to commercialize. I want to do my own thing. I want to be my own CEO. I want to be number one. And so this book is really for everyone who's decided to take that first step.
Yes, I want to be number one on the Apple chart. Book 101 review. Mr. James Sinclair, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or your book itself?
Yeah, I'd love you to go to Starting a Startup and sign up for my weekly newsletter. When you get it, let me know if you like it. Let me know if you hate it. Let me know what you think. I love feedback, always.
Yes, indeed. Yes, people, let's support Mr. James Sinclair, because if you support him, for sure, more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. James, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.